Hello and welcome back, Math 10. Today we're going to look at factoring polynomials. So we're going to start it here. So if I have this equation here, 21x plus 14, and I want to factor both of these. So now it's equal to 3x plus 2y. So basically I divided this by 7 and this by 7. So I have 7 multiplied by both gives me 3x plus 2y. So factoring means to take out something that's multiplied. Okay? So here, I look at it. We have to take out of all three of these, which would take out 5. Divide this by 5, 5. So I'm going to be left with, and then here, we also took out x squared, x squared, x squared. So I have 5x squared was factored out of all of those. If I multiply this in, I'm going to end up getting that. So we have to multiply the number distributed property to every single one. Okay? Let's try my next one here. We have 5a squared plus 25a is equal to 5a, well, multiplied by what? Well, 5a times a is 5a squared. 5a multiplied by what is equal to 25. So I'm going to divide this by 5a, and that's going to end up giving me 5. Okay? Next one here. I have 18p minus 16q is equal to 2 multiplied by something minus something. What? Right here, we're doing factoring out 2, so I divide this by 2. That's going to give me 9p. Be left with 9p. Okay? Now here is my last one, or second last one. I have 4mn subtract 6. Now here it says we factored out a 2m. So divide this by 2m, divide this by 2m. I'm going to be left with, and it's negative 2m. So I'm going to be left with 2n, right? If we divide that, and this one's going to be plus 3m. And there's my answer. Okay, now this one here. If I look at it, we divided everything, we factored out 9x, so everything was divided by 9x. Okay, well, 18 divided by 9x is going to be 2, and we still have 1x, y squared. Next one here is, it's still subtracting. 45 is going to give me 5, and then it's just y. The x's will cancel off. Okay? Then we have here, 9x divided by 9x is 1, so it's plus 1. And that is my solution. So it's 9x multiplied by 2x, y squared minus 5y plus 1. All right, let's take a look at my next one here. It says factor each polynomial by removing the greatest common factor. Okay? So I want to remove the greatest common factor. So what's the biggest thing that divides both of these? I'm going to say 2. So that gives me 2, 10x, subtract 3. Now let's look at b. So I have 16x to the power of 4 and x squared. So what can I take out of both of this? I could take out a 4x squared, which is exactly that. So I'm going to be left with 4x squared is what I'm factoring out of both. And we get 4x squared left, this divided by 4x squared gives me 4x squared plus 1. Okay? Now let's take a look at this next one here. This one looks a little bit more complicated. So first I'm going to factor each of my coefficients. So I have 10, which is 5 and 2. This is 2 and 4, 2 and 2. Here's just 2. Now each of these I could factor out a 2. Remember doing that before? So it's equal to 2. What do I have left? I'm going to have for each one, I'm going to be left with 5, and then I'm here, I'm going to be left with 4, and, well, 1. Okay? Now, all of these, every one of these has an a, so I could factor out an a. So I'm going to be left with a squared, so I have to minus 1, so that's a squared. That a is gone, this a is gone. Now, each of these, I could take out a b squared. Okay? So that's going to be left with just b for this one, and this one's going to be left with b squared. And this is plus, and we have a plus here. Oops, that's a plus. Okay? And there we go. It's all factored out. Let's try my next one. So once again, I'm going to use my trusty factor tree for my coefficients. So I have 12, which is 4 and 3, 2 and 2, 2 and 3. Here I have 3 and 5. Now looking over this, what can I take out? I have a 3, a 3, and a 3. So 3 is the only thing I can factor out of all of them. So I have 3. Now what's left of this is going to be 4. This one's going to be minus 2. And this one here is going to be plus 5. Now I'm going to look at my letters. All of them have a p, so I could take out a p. So if I take out p there, I'm going to be left with p squared. Here I'm going to be left with p, and that's just going to be 5. So there it is factored out. And I could double check. 3p times 4p squared is 12p cubed. Yep, 3p times negative 2p gives me negative 6p squared. And 3p times 5 gives me 15p. Works perfect. Okay, last one of these ones. Let's see what I can take out here. We want to factor this one out. So first, my coefficients. That's 5 and 5. This one here is going to be 5 and 4. 2 and 2. And here we have 5 and 6, 2 and 3. So there's a 5 in all of these that is shared. So I know I could take out a 5. Alright? Well, what is left over if I take out a 5? This one just has 5. The next one here, I want to move this 5 over a bit so I have room. The next one here is going to have a 4. And this is negative. And the last one here is going to have a 6. Okay? Now let's see what else I could take out. All of them have an x. At least one, so I could take out an x. Okay? So this is going to be left with x. And this one here is going to be left with x to the power of 3. Okay? So take out one x. All of them have a y, and at least y squared. So I could take out a y squared. So that one's gone. This is going to be left with y squared. And there's no y left in there. Now all of them have at least z squared. That's the smallest. So we can take out a z squared as well. I'm going to move that 2 so it's closer to the y. Okay, so we could take out a z squared. So this is going to be left with z. Then here, nope, no more z squared. And then here's going to be z to the 3. Okay? So if I look at this, if I go 5x y squared z squared, multiply that with this is going to give me that. And we could double check and multiply them all in. And it is the same thing. Okay? If I multiply this in, this is going to give me 25x squared y squared z to the 3. Exactly. If I multiply this into there, I'm going to end up getting 20 x 20, negative 20, yes. X squared, x times x is x squared. Y to the 4, z, y to the 4, and z squared. Perfect. And then we do the same with that one, and we find out that they all line up perfectly. So that's how you do the basic factoring. Hopefully you understood that, and good luck as I see you tomorrow and work on this together as a class. See you tomorrow.